with a great pleasure, I'd like to invite again the speaker that you liked, as I did, Dr. Darren, with Amit Sreedharan for such an important session. We heard from our government leaders on the government reimagining themselves, right? Leading digital transformation in the face of AI disruption and the national transformational visions like the Saudi vision. It is vital to empower citizens. Citizens need to trust their government. We need to enhance transparency and understand how information is being collected and used. Stay ready, stay tuned for a fireside conversation between Dr. Darren and Amit. Amit, he's a seasoned technology executive. He's currently the business head of energy and government services for EMEA at Infosys, another sponsor for this event, for the Open Group. He has deep experience in the IT and consulting industry and played a vital role in driving innovation and strategic growth across multiple market and industry. Please join me to such an interesting session, and let's take us through how government are being reimagined. Dr. Darren, Amit on the stage, please.
So Amit, we have to explain what happened here, why I'm on stage with you.
Absolutely.
You called me up last week, right? And said, hey, let's change things up. And I said, this is going to be fun. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. We're going to enjoy it whether you guys enjoy it or not. We're going to have a lot of fun. So Amit, you do a lot of the same things I do.
Absolutely.
But you do them in Asia and Europe. I primarily have been focused primarily in North and South America. So explain a little bit about your role and what you do first, because I think that'll be very interesting.
Absolutely, Darren. So folks, I'm Amit. I head the energy and government services business for the Middle East. Been with Infosys for around 22 years, and Infosys is a leading digital services company. We help companies transform, we help governments transform. We work with our partners like Intel to closely create the future. That's what, in short, we do, Darren, right? And we are well known for bringing in innovation. Our company itself is an AI-first company. And interestingly, I know there's a lot of conversation on AI today, but also the foundational element, which is enterprise architecture, which is an extremely important element of what everything's going to build upon. The stories we heard in the morning, be it from Aramco, be it from Gossi or from DGA, has all been about brilliant transformation, right? And I think me and Darren are going to come together of, what has he seen, what have I seen. He brings the hardware, I bring the software, and together let's see what we can learn together and teach our field.
With the hardware and software, we can build the foundation.
Absolutely.
Right, and then you build everything on top of that. So what have you seen that is different from what kind of I described earlier? What have you seen that's different, or are you seeing things the same as far as digital transformation, specifically in government?
Yeah.
Are you seeing similar things in the EU and in Asia?
So it's interesting, from where I see it, the Middle East at least has picked up in speed and acceleration over the last several years. But many of the principles remain the same. If you look at all the government initiatives that's happened over the last several years and that you're seeing right now, fundamentally is bringing in all the government services together. Saudi under DG has done this brilliantly. Second is creating a unified national ID. India is a beautiful example. 1 billion people have a single ID transforming. Next is primarily around data, a very important piece. I know early in your session you talked about how silos is built. It's important to bring it together. That's again a foundation. But governments are really working together to do that, because that lies to the principle of what Saudi government is doing and many other governments are doing. That is, you sign up only once. You give information only once. That's a basic principle.
So great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have several identities in the United States. Several.
Yeah,
right?
in India was similar, but now we're changed to a single one.
But now it's all changed.
Correct.
So what's behind, what do you think is behind these successful digital transformations like in Saudi Arabia and in India? Because those are two really good examples.
Yeah.
What are behind those successes?
See, I think before going behind the successes, one important thing, and I think that was well told by Gossi, the outcome in a government project is not the financial gains necessarily. You get savings out of it, but finally it's customer satisfaction, right? Your citizens need to be happy with what you're offering. You have to have life easy for them. And with a vision that comes from the top, it leads to success, right? In India, we had a government which was backing the digital agenda. Saudi with Vision 2030 is absolutely the same. Every country which is trying to get on a government transformation has been, the support has been from the leadership. I think that's a very important piece.
You know, I've seen something similar in California. One of the, where I live, one of the biggest problems I've always had was going to get your car registered or get a driver's license at the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Right.
You knew you were going to spend 2 or 3 days. You would never have the right documentation. During COVID,
It changed.
they completely changed because their CIO did it. He just said, I'm tired of the DMV being always the butt of the jokes, always the worst place to go is the DMV,
Right.
and completely changed to completely digital because of leadership. I think you hit it. I think you hit it.
Yeah, I think it's, and also the way it's built, the foundation is also another important piece. I was reading through the DJA website over the last few weeks, and the foundation that is planned and set up is brilliant. Right? It's one of the best. In fact, I was reading that Saudi government has been rated #1 in the Middle East for government transformation, which itself is exemplary. Myself, when I applied for the Saudi visa maybe 8 years back, it used to take me 3 weeks. This time I got it like in 3 hours. That itself is a big change. Because while you digitize the government, yes, it's great for the citizens, but it also removes the red tape and making it easier for people to do business in the country, which is a very important element.
So vision, leadership are key elements.
Absolutely.
What about culture?
Well, culture is a big part of it.
Because you were explaining a little bit about India, and I thought this is fascinating. Because in India, if you were to talk about internet or web access, people look at you strange.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the culture plays an important part to it as well, from the fact that for anything to succeed, people have to trust you, right? Absolutely. Citizens need to trust you. When India rolled out the single ID, they were thinking that it could lead to theft. It was, in fact, the opposite outcome. Now in India, we have the best payment gateway where nobody takes cash. We just pay with the mobile phone, QR codes. Direct bank-to-bank transfer. Visa and MasterCard doesn't like the Indian government because of that. They lose their commission, right? But it's about trust. And especially in a sector like India, it takes more time for people to learn and trust you, right? And that's because education difference are different. Connectivity is different. So it took us more time. In fact, with everything you were digital in a place like India where connectivity is a big challenge, we have moved to SMS-based services because everybody has a normal telephone. So you need to think of some of that as well when you actually do that. And yes, the education makes a big difference to acceptance. But again, it's road shows, it's gaining trust, maybe micro changes for mega outcomes. I think that's what you really need.
But I mean, some of these micro changes that you made have huge impacts. Right? I mean, to think that India, you know, 1 billion, what is it, 1.5 billion?
1.3 billion.
1.3 billion people all have a single ID.
Yeah.
That's amazing. We can't do anything like that in the United States because there's too much cultural inertia slowing us down, or people are concerned, well, I don't want that in one central place and all that. But you guys made small micro changes.
Correct.
That everyone said, oh, it's so much easier just to go this direction.
Absolutely, and I think it's about gaining trust because people started seeing gains of it. So what happened is with the single ID, people were able to get benefits direct to the bank account, subsidies directly to the bank account. And I think that's what you see here as well with the Upshare app and everything else. It's made it easy for the citizens. So in fact, I was reading the number of downloads has increased exponentially in the last few years, and that's primarily because people like it. It's made it easier.
I like that because you said small changes.
Correct.
A lot of times government, especially government, loves to do big changes, right? We have this big, huge program that we're going to do, and that's going to make a big change for everyone. And people are like, yeah, I don't want to do that, right? Because it's just too much of a change because people, normally, they don't like change. Yeah, but small things with benefits, progression, that sounds like that's working.
Absolutely, and in fact, I heard Dr. In the morning, Aramco talking about the fact, agile, fail fast, and you need to do that. Absolutely, right? And I think be it government, be it independent small projects, that's the approach to go. In fact, I know you're part of the, you're chairing the group, specifically on the government side. So I know Saudi is really ahead. So I would love to hear a little bit more of, for things that I'm seeing, what are you guys planning for at this time?
Oh, for the government digital transformation.
Yeah.
Well, right now our biggest thing is to just capture as much as we can.
Okay.
Because getting experience from all over the world is extremely important because we can all learn from each other. So when we meet at like every 2 weeks for an hour, and then once a month for 2 hours on a Saturday, which everyone in the world has Saturday off. So we're asking a lot of people. And what I found most interesting was just the sharing of ideas. Okay. And sometimes they're conflicting ideas. And I said, that's fine, guys. Let's just write it all down. And we're using generative AI to actually help us. It's actually pretty fascinating. Right. We had quite the debate over the name of the group. It took like an hour over several sessions, and I'm like, this is ridiculous, guys. And all of a sudden, I said, let's use Gen AI, and all of a sudden, we had like 20 names like that from all different places, and it was interesting to see how we could all interact together and come and unify by brainstorming together. So that's the thing that I'm most appreciative of these forums, is just how much information sharing there can be. Okay. And the capturing part of it and putting in a document, that's the easy part. Yeah. That used to be the hard part, but now that's the easy part. The more enjoyable part is the interaction.
Okay, brilliant. See, one of the things that, as I was reading, and a lot of governments worry and citizens worry, is around cybersecurity and data theft, right?
Right.
That's a very important element, Darren, right? So what are you looking at in the plans for that?
Oh, gosh, cybersecurity, data. So first off, I would start with data. Data management is ignored, right? People go, and it depends on who you talk to. If you talk to the cloud service providers, they say, just put it in the cloud. It's in the cloud. That's not data management. That's just shifting it into a bigger place, right? So we do have to come up with really good data management architectures and strategies. Luckily, over the last 2 or 3 years, there's been a lot of research, a lot of good work in data management on data meshes, distributed data lakes, big data lakes. There's lots of different techniques that we can point to that we don't have to prescribe. That instead we can say, here are the pluses and the minuses of these different data architectures, which I think is brilliant. On the cybersecurity side, there's so much out there already, it's almost too much.
Too much, yeah.
In fact, we're seeing organizations like NIST kind of back off a little bit, where they're saying, wow, we were very prescriptive in some of the NIST standards.
It's too much.
And it's too much, and it's not making people more secure. Instead, they turn to process and go, look, we followed your process, and we still got hacked. And I said, well, you got to do more than just follow a process.
Correct.
So I think one of the things that we need to do in all these is teach good principles. Yeah, so, and we were talking earlier.
Correct.
We got to teach people how to think again.
Absolutely.
Right? And we've got to be able to make decisions. We've got to be able to understand architecture better, right? Because we've been stuck in these bureaucratic process cycles for too long that we can't actually make decisions. We can't actually make any architectural decisions. So I'm hoping that we can focus on that aspect in the group that we're working on, is that the training and getting people to think at a higher level, and to challenge and things like. I think that's going to be the most important.
It's interesting because that's what people say. I know it was a great session on agentic AI before, but some of the best use cases that we're seeing right away is the one that's repetitive and process oriented, and people are just following a standard script. That's your number one use case for agentic AI. So I'm hoping the future is where agentic AI does all of that, and we do the challenge and the lateral thinking as well.
Absolutely. In fact, we have to. And like in the previous presentation that we just saw, I think it's beautiful, by the way. Those guys, great job. In that you've got an agentic AI framework that's feeding your enterprise architecture and vice versa. The one thing I would say that's extremely important in that whole thing is the human aspect of it.
Absolutely.
Because the humans still need to, we're still in control. It's not Skynet yet, right? We're still out there. We're still the ones controlling the generative AI. It needs us to give it direction. And the same thing with architecture. We need to train people to think at that higher level to think more at the architecture level, to have critical thought, to find new ways of doing things, and let Gen AI and agentic handle the minutia, handle all the details that we don't really need to handle.
Absolutely. In fact, one of these biggest challenges that I've been seeing while governments and private institutes want to do is compliance and regulatory needs, right? The best humans can think of the best ideas, but then it gets shot down because there is a certain rule that does a certain thing. Very interestingly, I was reading that AI is one of those disruptive technologies where compliance and regulation is far ahead than the actual technology evolution. In the past generation, it was always the technology evolved and compliance regulatory would try to catch up, but now it's actually different. And I think that's going to hit us a little bit, and we really need to see how to get ahead of the game.
You can see it in different countries. Yeah. In the countries that had AI policies that were so draconian and locked way down, the innovation in those countries kind of stumbled.
Absolutely. Right.
Slowed down a little bit, but now they've caught up and they're still adhering into the thing. So it's this weird balance you've got to play with. I've got to restrict the technology a lot to, I got to let it go free rein and then kind of restrict it. I don't know the right answer to that. That's
I think there'll never be a right answer. You have to evolve.
Yeah.
See, I think that goes back to the part, if you have the government sponsorship and you have a person in that as part of your task forum, they will listen to you, they'll understand the problems, they will evolve. While if you stay disconnected, maybe we will be stuck and, countries won't innovate.
Probably. So, I mean, these are the sorts of things that governments have to deal with on that policy side. Remember I talked people, process, policy, and technology. Sometimes the policies can get too far behind, and sometimes they can get too far ahead. A great example of this is a real dear friend of mine. He's a privacy and data lawyer for healthcare. And at his company, right after Gen AI launched, right after ChatGPT launched, he said, we need a policy around this. And his management said, no, let's just let it go and ride. And so he, being a lawyer, ultra risk averse, that's his job, right, to protect the hospitals from being sued. He just started monitoring what doctors were doing with Gen AI. And he could monitor his network.
Think what are they doing?
And see what they're doing. And he ended up, with no policy in place, he ended up calling in a couple doctors and say, look, you can't put this sort of stuff into Gen AI because it is personal, private information, and that's going out to the internet. You can't do that sort of stuff. But that's the only guidelines that he had as a privacy attorney. And I've talked to him a lot about this on my podcast. And his biggest concern is if you have no policy whatsoever, or no guidelines even, then it just kind of goes crazy. It's all over the place. And what he's learned is some of the doctors were using it very effectively, helping them write notes for the patients so the patients could understand better what was going on, and they could get their work done quickly. Others were using it beyond what they should have and doing diagnostics, and because there were no guidelines, it didn't matter. So we do need to
have basic guidelines.
Yeah, guidelines and policies, but it's a strange. This one's a hard one because there's so much unknown about some of these new technologies that I wish I had an answer. I don't.
Yeah, we all are learning, and I think that's why this forum is great. In fact, as Darren said, we just started speaking a week back, and we are like, oh, wow, this is great, and we were spending quite some time talking. And this is an absolutely great forum, and we are like, there's so much that he knows, I know we would love to contribute more. So thank you once again for giving us the opportunity really to be here, to talk to you all as well.
So I got one more question for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Biggest impediment you've seen in digital transformation across all of the organizations, if you could say there's one thing that slows digital transformation down completely.
Definitely culture, 100% culture, because I think there's a famous saying, right? Culture eats everything. Everything, primarily. And that's what you see. Anybody, the CIO has a vision, I want to do this, but that's again technology coming out of something else. But there's somebody else who's done people, process, tools, still culture stops it. And I know in the morning, your slide pack had talked about those companies, right? Be it BlackBerry, be it Nokia. They were ahead of the game at one time. But the feeling that they are the best and the culture within them saying, I don't want to innovate, and they have this whole process there, kill them. Now the new world is different. In fact, Jeff Bezos had said of Amazon, I don't think my company will last for another 20 more years because until we don't reinvent, right? And now if you look at it, majority of the revenue is from cloud services when they started as a book company.
Yeah.
So you got to have the culture, you need to have the right mindset, and moving away from the process, thinking, challenging, really to be ready for the future is the way I see it, at least.
So that brings up, it's a term I use a lot in everything I do, embracing digital transformation.
Yeah.
To me means embracing culture.
Culture, yes.
So
absolutely.
if I embrace a culture, maybe it's a culture of, I don't want to change, but if I can embrace it and understand it,
Yeah.
I can be like judo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where I can move it with me.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of fighting the culture, trying to make it change.
Should never fear it.
Yeah, instead, get in there close, embrace it, understand what motivates the people there, and help the culture shift.
Absolutely.
themselves.
Because technology always aids us humans. It's the same thing we had many years back in India when you got those trucks to help people. People were striking because they thought they'd lose their jobs. But the jobs are still there, just better and something more. And I think it's going the same thing with digital. Now the same future with AI as well. It'll just empower us to be better.
Hey, this has been great, Amit. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks, Darren.
Yeah, thanks.
Wow. Thank you so